My company is SnappConner PR. We were founded 10 and a half years ago. I am the founder and the CEO. This is the first company that I have headed entirely, although it is the fourth public relations company I've co-headed. But for a variety of reasons, although I never aspired to the role, I stepped up to become founder and CEO in Q1 of 2007. It's been quite a ride since then. I will stand up to anyone and brand us as a better practitioner than anyone in the US, maybe nationally too. But as a CEO, that's a different ballgame, different job description, not one I'd ever wanted to participate in before. So while we've done amazing things during that time period, on the other hand, I joke that it was quite a long and expensive MBA. So that's where we are and were towards the beginning of this year, 2017. Had a somewhat negative view, well, very negative view of business consultants. I've used them, but at the end of it, really, we have to remember always business consultants have a different role and a different agenda than us. And I ended up getting sideways with several consultants just because it was clear their motivation was more for what I could do for them, not what they could do for our company. That I was getting energized calls first of every month. Where's my payment? Where's my payment? Bill paid is taking so long. And me having to stop everything to try and sort those kind of issues when what I really needed was the growth to my company, and no one really had the answers to get us over those hurdles. So I was one of those founders of a company that on paper I've been praised for, but I knew behind the scenes the reality was something entirely again. Completely opposite. And in fact, I won't ever forget the lunch appointment that I had with Jason Cisneros. He talked about the general consulting he does being with companies that Anton Jae would invest in and would help to make more profitable or would buy. And so I had walked into the discussion curious, but not really thinking there was a likely fit because we're not looking to be bought. And was very, very excited when he talked about the things that Anton Jae is able to do for companies who have founders who are maybe on paper doing great, but in reality burning out and not getting over the hurdles they need to surpass. I knew that it was a very big step to make this investment, and it necessarily involved all of my senior team, including other people who are quite senior, even C-level officers in my company. So I knew that I would be breaking some glass to do this, but this was important. So I just said, we're doing it. Everyone is invited. We're doing it. And I faced down the pressure as we came up to the engagement, came up to the day, as we had that 3-day deep dive engagement to a person. Everyone on my team really understood why I had done it, and has been absolutely a part of everything that we've done since. So that was vital. Absolutely, absolutely, no hesitation. Well, I don't mind discussing them at all. My company is headquartered in Salt Lake City, and our biggest competition has tended to be companies who claim to have superiority for having presence physically in San Francisco or other states. We do have physical presence in states across the US. We just choose not to describe those as operating locations. We'd rather tell the absolute truth and tell people why it's important. But we were up against competition from people who were being mandated by their investors to go another direction, and people, of course, who just received VC capital. They could be charged 2 to 3 times multipliers and still not accomplish goals, but somehow skate by. So that wasn't a model we really wanted to pursue also. And this is the very biggest thing, that we worked very, very hard to protect our solid reputation. Well, that meant that I was the backstop to everybody to make certain that that was the case. The first people in with me were quite junior, comparatively speaking, so they they somewhat understandably thought that their roles would grow, their income would grow heavily just because they were there first. They were first in the pyramid. And I made the bad mistake of promoting those individuals to titles of partner. They were never shareholders, thank heavens, but to titles that were far above their capability. And that was a problem, big problem. So I was basically working for my team, not for my family, not for my company, not even so much for our clients, as working to meet those demands and expectations that, okay, if there's competition in town, what are you going to do that's going to top that? You know, if they're being given health insurance free of charge because they're part of a conglomerate and they're being given Class A space, you better top that. Or I need more money because I didn't quit. We went through the worst recession in history. I stayed. I didn't quit. And of course, it's just lost on individuals like that, that your job was protected. You were protected in days the owner didn't take a paycheck to make certain you'd be okay. But seriously, people in a junior role see that as quite the opposite, that, hey, I'm owed a pile of money and you better make me whole before you dare hire anyone else into the company, feeling that their roles were secured. So honestly, the only way I could make profit was to work with contractors. So that was just kind of a bad culture and animosity that had taken care of itself. But then what we were going to replace that with was completely an open question at the time that I met Anton Jae. Absolutely, absolutely. And the giant aha was that I had focused so much on only our good deliverable and reputation, because people come through the door and say, your reputation precedes you. And my thought inside was, oh my word, the day had better never come that that's not the case, or what would we do? And it was really, really compelling for me to think, and it was Jason Cisneros who brought this up. The very best clients for you are probably not the ones who walked through your door. They're the companies that understand the need of your service, which is public relations, have the budget to pay for it, and are not satisfied with what they're currently getting from who they're hiring right now. You know, I thought, my head doesn't need to be any bigger than it already is. I'm a confident person. I don't value business more highly if I stole it from a competitor. In fact, it doesn't seem like an efficient use of our time. Completely turned my thinking around. That has been, more than anything else, a giant discovery I never would have reached on my own, and has really reinformed who we go after and the nature of the services we provide. We're operating at an entirely different level now than we were, it's been 9 months ago. The ability to identify and go after our ideal clients, not wait for clients to come to us and expect and hope they'd be the right ones, that was huge. The whole idea of, Jason called it entanglement, but really working to be the thing any client company can't afford to be without. That next to their payroll, they wouldn't want to be without the services that we provide, not being a service provider that people assume is, you're nice people, you're based in Utah, we can take advantage of you, and in some cases get away with doing that because I had to live by cash flow month to month because of this team that I had. Yes, we left the 3 days with a very detailed and actionable plan. Everything in our process had evolved, and thankfully, because my team had gone through the process with me, they were ready to uphold it as well. This was not me beating people up or imploring them to do something different than they'd ever done before. So the team worked together and we had a completely different game plan from that day forward. Not only did I receive a return on investment, I will really, with confidence, say this was the best thing we ever did as a company. We might not have been fully ready for it in years before now, but the timing was right, the deliverable was perfect, and absolutely the best thing that we've ever done. we signed up for a portion of ongoing support, and part of the reason we didn't go full in was that our revenue source, our planned revenue source, was different than the one that we put the big focus on, our core business. So we did a partial ongoing. I do think that was important, that for us to have just gone completely cold and not have the support afterwards would have left us with a lot of questions, a lot of follow-up training that we needed and didn't receive. But to go deeper than that, it didn't fit our model currently. Maybe it would at another point in time, but it didn't fit our model right then. Our business is 100% A players. We've noticed that as we look around the room, as we just came from our holiday party, a completely different culture. Some of the same people, some not. Some people self-selected out, and for all the right reasons. But we have an A team. We're not having to manage their understanding or their maturity level. We're on the same page and we're rocking together. So that's a giant change. Also, the end of the year, December, is when people who are open for new contracts in PR arrive. A completely different level of people are arriving. And in fact, a client we spoke to last week, they're coming later this afternoon. The CEO said, I am turning backflips over what you were telling me. This is exactly what we need to do. Another one, a regional company, I shouldn't say their name yet because we're not formally engaged, was referred to us by a senior vice president at Edelman, who told that company, this is the one company and CEO you need to speak to. And they did, and I do believe they're right. It's going to be an ideal client for us. Another observed our work over the past years. Those individuals, those senior individuals, are now at the helm of a different company and know, based on their experience with us, we are the people they need. I don't think I could put a dollar value on the outcome. The ROI is that high. To go from being one company to an entirely different one, how do you even measure that? I think over time, ask me again at the end of 2018, I think I'll have a great answer for you, because this is our year. And in fact, that was one thing I learned in the process, is that we stepped away from the deep dive thinking everything is turned and we could turn the Titanic on a dime. That wasn't the case. Even with the right structure and processes in place, it's taken a little bit of time, and I think it's taken us until this quarter and this month even for things to fully manifest themselves that are the result of the things that we did in the end of February, 1st of March. So that's a 9-month turnaround. And Jason did warn us. Of course, that was something we didn't really want to believe and want to hear. Oh no, we're on top of this. We can do this. But we've learned some additional value in practicing, in actually practicing the things that we spoke about, the things that we learned. They have come to fruition, and now is when it's really hitting the road. But I don't think I could even put a number on it. It's been that instrumental to us. For us and for me, the deep dive was a very rewarding journey, even though it was, as we were warned, it's bloody, it's muddy. There are a lot of things that are difficult to talk about that we talked about. We held nothing back. But it was, I'd say it was the best thing we could have done with that time. And to make certain that it had our full focus, we did ours on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because otherwise we tend to turn into emergency mode with clients trying to reach us, crisis situations that are awfully hard to ignore, even if we're really, really trying to. We also wanted the quiet. Our building is kind of an acoustic wonder that you could say something in any one room and it'll carry to the opposite corners. So we had that privacy, we had that space away from the day-to-day, and we made all the use of it that we could. So I would say make certain of that you get your team in with you, that you time it for a time that they're not going to get pulled away by the phone, by client emergencies. Give it every bit of focus, and you'll be glad that you did. If I hear of anyone considering using Anton Jae and they have any hesitation, I will absolutely come to your door and haunt you. Do this. Do not hesitate. You should go forward. You will absolutely be glad that you did.